Hey guys, what's up? It's Snake and I'm back. I hope everybody had a good holiday season. I had a really awesome Christmas myself. Got a lot of neat things, mostly money, but money's pretty neat most of the time. At least when you get to use it on yourself as opposed to on bills and stupid stuff like that. But anyway, one of the big things I got, getting back to video games, is I have the XP 500s now. Which are Turtle Beaches. Of course, if you have them yourself, you know how awesome they are. I had the X41s before this, and sound-wise, I mean, they're pretty similar. These are a little bit better, as far as the fact that you can have like preset equalizers put in there, or if you're, that kind of audio tech savvy, you can actually program it yourself. And set up exactly what you want to hear. I'm not that good, so I just use the presets. But even still, all the other stuff, all the features of the headset is what makes it really cool. First off, it's got Bluetooth, so that means it can work with the PS3 without me having to use some crappy adapter that Turtle Beach just pushed out in order to appease the people who own both systems. And this way it connects directly, really strong connection, sounds perfect for those of you guys who did the last sub session with me, and for all you new guys out there who are going to do the new sub sessions, one coming today and then another one next week. You'll be able to hear me just fine on the PS3 finally, because I've been having a lot of trouble with that. The other neat thing too is I can connect a phone or some sort of audio source to it and listen to music while I'm playing the game too. Which is a lot of fun, because it's not that I'm not a fan of the music that they put in the game itself, like when you're playing multiplayer or things like that, but I like to control the volume, which obviously I know you can control the volume because I just turn the music off in the settings, but I also like to pick and choose what I want to listen to. So maybe I'm in a techno mood, or maybe I'm really feeling like rock or whatever it may be. So this is cool because it gives me a chance to listen to music without it interfering with playing the game, because it's all built into the headset. But anyway, enough about my Christmas presents. How you guys been? Let me know. Tell me what's up. Tell me what you got for Christmas. Anything big? Maybe a new Xbox finally, or a new PS3. Maybe you finally got the Black Ops 2 game. Who knows? But anyway, let's see what's up next. Today's episode is going to be talking about how I investigate maps. And this will be part one of a two-part series on this. And I'm breaking it up into three phases, the third phase being the most involved, and that's what we're going to be getting into on episode 2. That's all like researching, taking what we've learned from the map itself and looking online. That's where all the spoilers are going to be. So in this one, I'm not actually listening to the radios, and I'm not talking about any of the storyline itself. But at the same time, I'm just using this map in particular to show you how I break down a map and what I do to extract the information. So without further ado, let's get to phase one. Phase one is a checklist, pretty much. It's a set of requirements. I'd say items almost, but actually very few of them are real items. Most of it's just things that need to be done before you can start researching the map. You can think of them kind of like items, I suppose. If we were playing a Resident Evil, these would be the things that you're trying to Tetris into a rectangular grid pattern, and cursing the developers because you're 100 points away from having an extra 2 bars of cubes on the right side. But anyway, enough of geeking out. So getting back to phase one, what you need first and foremost, whether it's an actual notebook with paper, or you have your computer next to you, or your tablet, or your phone, any way you can take notes, you need to take notes. That's going to be the most important thing, because you may think you're going to remember something, you may think you see it and you're like, oh yes, when I get off and I start doing research, I'm going to remember exactly what that name was on the book. You're not. You're absolutely not. There's no way you're going to remember everything from a map, even a map as simple as this, which doesn't have a lot of storyline stuff in it, just little hints and things like that, because it's not part of the canon, I guess you could say. I mean, it's part of the storyline, but it's an outside part. Even further out, I feel like, than 5 was, because obviously 5 was outside the storyline, and yet still it ties in to some degree. I feel like there's a hint of that in this map. But all that aside, you need to take notes. Obviously, you're going to have a crawler or you're going to have a buddy watching the other zombie, so you don't necessarily have to write in shorthand, and I don't really recommend it, only because there's been plenty of times where I wrote down something, whether it was an abbreviation or like 2 words instead of the entire sentence, and I have no clue, absolutely no clue what the hell I'm talking about. Like, red 7. What does that even mean? I have no clue, but I wrote red 7 down, and at the time it made sense to me, but I could not figure out for the life of me, even going back through the map over again, what the hell I meant by red 7. So do longhand. Write out full sentences if you have to. Maybe you can make anagrams for areas, and we'll get to that in a second, because that's part of phase 2. But anyway, notebook, pen, longhand. The second thing you're going to need is points. Lots and lots of points, because there's a ton of stuff that we need to buy or open. So it's very important that even though you're considering this sort of an investigatory session, you treat it like any other session. You treat it like you want to get to round 50 or round 100. Get the points you need to get. Shoot them in the leg, knife them, go for the double points, don't get the nukes, all that sort of thing. Buy the proper weapons, not just any weapon off the wall just because you want to get a certain number of points. Because there is no such thing as a certain number of points in zombies. There never is, because you're going to need a gun from the box. So it could take 1 pull or it could take 20 pulls. So make sure that you guard your points well and you get as many of them as you can, because you got to treat this just like a normal session. So speaking of points, this is what you're going to need to buy, which are also obviously all requirements. You need to make sure that you're able to buy every single door, or if not every single door that will allow you to move freely through the entire map. So for instance, in this map, there's 2 front doors to each of the houses, as well as 2 rear doors, 2 doors that lead upstairs, and 2 doors that lead down the stairs. Having said that, there's also an extra door over by A, if you're playing domination, back where the garage is. And so that door isn't necessary, because once you get into the house, you're able to walk into the garage as well. So if you want to save $1,000, don't buy it. The other thing too you can skip buying is you can either skip buying the door up the stairs, out the back, or up the stairs from inside the house. Because as long as you buy one, you don't have to buy the other. Having said that, I like to buy all doors anyway, just because it makes it easier for me to run around, and if I'm by myself dealing with a crawler, or worse yet, dealing with an almost full zombie, one that's missing an arm or something, so you can't try and blow it up with a grenade because it's just going to die, and then you're going to have to sit through another round of the zombies. So opening all the doors just makes it easier, although it's not entirely necessary. Another thing I definitely recommend, which I actually didn't get if we're watching, if we're watching my turn, I didn't get right away, was quick revive. And I guess it's not that important, but if you think about it like this, 1 mistake means you have to start over, as opposed to with quick revive, where 4 mistakes means you have to start over. So you got a lot more time, and through the course of your 3 quick revives, I'm sure you'll be able to get Juggernaut, which will make it even harder for you to go down, which is the next thing that you need to buy. Juggernaut, as long as it's available, which it is in every map except for Knockdun Toten, you should get it. Why? Just because it makes you that harder to go down. You're not exactly sure how many levels you're going to have to go, because you're not entirely sure how many points you're going to have to get. And so because of that, Juggernaut and Quick Revive are very important. Now, if you're playing 2-player, Quick Revive, I guess not so much. Who really cares, right? But at the same time, if it's solo, Quick Revive is essential. The next thing you're going to need to get is a sniper rifle, because we're going to want to look off the map. And even now that in Black Ops 2 you can use your little camera and zoom around in theater mode, it still doesn't let you go all the way off the map. So you can't really get further out there to see like a name that's written on a mailbox, or what kind of building that is over there, or if there's something over on that side. It's harder for you to get to unless, of course, you're playing PC, which I'm not, so I'm unable to do that. And probably most of you are unable to do that as well. So we want to get the sniper rifle. And last but not least, the last thing we need to do is get an extra 5,000 points. And of course, if you're wondering why, well, you need that extra 5,000 points to pack-a-punch the sniper rifle. Because as soon as you pack-a-punch it, what do? You get a variable zoom. So you get to see even further out than before. Again, essential because you need to be able to see sometimes what's off the map. You need to see what kind of shadow that is, or if that's really a person hanging from the noose, or all sorts of things. And these are things that are just going to make it that much easier for you to investigate the map, figure out what everything is, and then really be able to take that information and then go off and research it. So that's going to be everything from phase 1. Phase 2 is actually researching the map. So once you get all this stuff, once you get everything you have, then you get a crawler next, or at the very least, you get a slow-moving zombie, or have a partner that can watch the zombie for you. Now, obviously, I definitely recommend the partner. Reason being, there are a lot of maps out there where the zombies will come back to life if they don't touch you within a certain amount of time from being a crawler. They'll grow new legs, and then you're screwed again because now you're dealing with one really, really fast zombie trying to make him a crawler. And that can happen sometimes, but if you're not paying attention and you're looking at something very intently in the corner and you're not noticing the fact that he came back to life, it could cause you trouble in the end. So it's always safer to play with 2 people, although it is going to be pretty boring for the second guy. So, but anyway, like I said, that's the end of phase 2. That's the end of phase 1. Phase 2. What you're going to need to do is divide the entire map into sections. So, like for instance, this map has A, which is where flag A would be if we were playing domination. Then there's house A, upstairs and downstairs. Then there's B, which is the center area, which if it's large enough like this, you can even divide in half as well, saying one half is the truck side, one half is the bus side. Or if you want to divide it in the opposite direction, you could say one half is the fridge side, and the other half is the Jeep side. So by dividing it like that too, it helps you really pinpoint where things are more precisely, even in larger areas like this. Then of course you have C side and C house side as well. So it helps you break things down. So as you're searching for things, like if you find something inside one of the buildings. Well, you didn't just find it in the building when you're writing the note down. You're writing, okay, we found this circular clock. And then you explain, okay, diamond shape on front, ruins on the back, and then maybe you draw the ruins. And then you're going to write down found downstairs, side A, house. So it's in the house, it's on side A, and it's downstairs. You might even want to put TV room because it's in the room with the TV. But then you're going to notice later on, and this is the best part, because now you have what you saw when you're over on side C, and you're upstairs, and you're in the computer room, or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, it's not a computer room because it's the 1950s, but I always think it's a computer room because it's got that little desk there. So inside there, we find another one. So now we write down same clock, side C, upstairs, computer room, or whatever kind of room you want to call it. It's not the bedroom, but anyway. So then that way you can start breaking down things and tying connections. Because whenever you see something used more than once, okay, so maybe it's just laziness, but not always. I mean, for instance, if we're inside side C, upstairs, we see this little clock in the bedroom. Well, not only do we see stuff around the map that's reused, but that specific clock we also see in other levels. We see it in Doris. We see it in Call of the Dead. So there's got to be some reason why we keep seeing this clock. This clock means something, or at least it may mean something. And that's the way you have to really think about these things as you go through the levels, as you go through the maps and you look at stuff. That's the way your mind has to think. Because where else we also see this clock? We see it in Sam's room. So there's got to be some sort of connection. Maybe they're just reusing it because of the fact that they don't want to design a new clock every time. But at the same time, there could be a specific reason. Because there's a lot of things out there that seem like just coincidences. And Treyarch's pretty smart about this stuff. So we know that they think about things like this. So there is definitely a possibility that this clock could be important. Or the round clock with the runes on it, that could be important too for some reason. So there's all these things, like why would they put runes on the back of it if those weren't connected to the story somehow? So you really have to break down everything when you're looking around. Walk around, look in rubble. Use the scope even to try and read smaller print if possible, because sometimes you can read it, sometimes you can't, but it just depends. If you find a book and there's a name on the book, notice that not all the books have names. So obviously that name is important for some reason. And a lot of times it's Richthofen's name, which we already know him, so we don't have to worry about that. But other times, like in this case right here, there's a book with somebody else's name on it. So that somebody else has to be important somehow. We got to do research on him. So you want to write his name down and where you found the book. You know, just so you can backtrack when you have to come back to the level a second time. Which, of course, is phase 4. So we're not even going to be talking about it in this episode. Well, I guess I'll tell you what it is, obviously, because before I didn't mention there was 4 phases. Phase 3 is research, and that's what we're going to do in the next episode. We're going to really get into it. That's where all the spoilers are, and we really figure out, or at least try to figure out, what the storyline behind Nuketown is. And then you can take that and obviously use the same sort of research methods on other maps as well. But then phase 4 is doing phase 2 all over again. But now you have more information. Now you know what you were looking at to begin with, and you know what's important and what's not important. And all the notes you're going to be taking now in phase 2 will be your map to go back in phase 4. So that's why it's really important to not only make the notes understandable so the research will help, but of course by specifically placing the items in the map so you know where they are and where to go when you have to go back and check them out again and see if it really is what it is, or it isn't what it is, or whatever it might be. But anyway, that looks like it's going to be it. I guess I should add one more thing. Obviously, there's not just the map itself. Don't forget to pay attention to the end song and the intro song, the hidden song. All these songs are very important. They tell us things. Like this intro song, I'll give you a little taste of next week. This intro song sounds very similar to Shangri-La. So when you take the notes, throw down intro song dash Shangri-La intro song question mark, and figure out what they're trying to tell us with that. You know, or the intro picture too, especially. Take a picture of it if you have to. Carry it around with you on your phone. You know, wherever you are, you're going to be thinking about this if you're serious about trying to do the research. And so sometimes things will just dawn on you. Suddenly you'll go, wait a minute, that makes sense, and you need to look at the map, or you need to look at the picture from the intro, or whatever it may be, and it'll be right there for you, so you can put 2 and 2 together and not forget it, which has happened so many times for me. But anyway, that looks like it's going to be it. Until next time, we're going to go over, obviously, on the next episode, we're going to go over Phase 3 and Phase 4 and figure out what all this stuff means. But until then, guys, we are going to be having a PS3 sub-session today. That's going to be at 6 o'clock, which this video may be coming out around the same time as the sub-session, so check it. Today is today is January 4th. That's a Friday, and at 6 p.m. New York time, we're going to be playing a sub-session, and then 3 p.m. LA time is what it is, and obviously I don't know it, but maybe one of our viewers do, what that translates into British time, if anybody's still up, if it's in the middle of the night, or if it's early in the morning, and you want to play, go ahead and jump on. I know I have a lot of subscribers over across the pond, and I love you guys over in the UK. You got the best comedies on TV, and I'm glad you're watching. So from now on, I think I'm really going to try and figure out what all the time zones are, and whenever I have sub-sessions, I'll post them on the page, or I'll send them up on Twitter. So you better be following me on Twitter if you want to find out when the sub-sessions are. Because today, that'll be one, and next week we'll have another one. And of course, next week we're also going to have part 2 of this video. So stay tuned. And until next time, guys, peace out.
Double point!